guys? It's your gay sports fanatic, and welcome to this week's edition, which is a look at NFL Week 4. Now, nobody told me there'd be days like these. Strange days indeed. That line comes from a 1984 album called Milk and Honey that was released posthumously by John Lennon. And boy, does it fit the first 3 weeks of this season, because never in history have so many favorites actually lost the game. So it's wild and woolly out there. So what we're going to do this week is we're going to have 3 parts to this show. First part, we're going to look at 3 teams that have pretty much lived up to the script. You said they would be where they're at after 3 games before the season started, you would have been okay. I buy that. Then I'm going to look at 3 teams that are undefeated that nobody would have ever have guessed would be undefeated after 3 games. So we're going to take a good look at them and also maybe some of their challenges ahead of them. And then we'll jump back in again and we'll do 7 predictions for week 4. So let's kick it off with the 3 teams that have followed script, okay? This is teams that have lived up to the billing. First off, you got to start with the Chiefs. They're 3-0. Lady Luck has shined on them, but you need that in the NFL to win. Chiefs are winning. That's all that matters. Although I do wonder if Travis Kelce has retired and he just hasn't told the Chiefs yet. I don't know. We'll see what he does the rest of the season, but so far, he doesn't warrant being in every other commercial and all this attention he gets because he's not playing that way. But it's early. Maybe he'll pick it up. Chiefs are 3-0 anyway. Next, I go to Buffalo, 3-0 and looking great. And the Bills this year, they've got to get home field advantage. It's critical. And they got to cash it in this year and get to the Super Bowl. They've got to do it. This is their year to do it. So far for the Bills, looking great. Next up is the Eagles. Now they're 2-1. They have 1 loss. Games have been close, but Saquon Barkley has been the difference in both of those victories. Without him, I don't think the Eagles would have won them. Saquon should get the game ball for the 2 victories that they have. So the Eagles keep rolling. This team's going to keep moving forward. So look out on the Eagles. So those are the 3 teams that I think are living up to what you would have thought. Now let's look at the 3 teams that nobody would have thought would be undefeated at this point. And I'm going to start number 1 with the Vikes, the Minnesota Vikings. 3-0. They beat the Giants, which is whatever, but the Giants actually aren't all that bad. But then they beat the 49ers, and then they beat the Texans. Now, nobody would have predicted that. So the Vikes sit at 3-0 with quarterback Sam Darnold, who is 26 years old, but I thought he'd be like 34, 35. I certainly thought he was on his way out of the league. Just a maintenance fill-in for J.J. McCarthy to get up and running. That's not the case at all. Sam Darnold is playing one of the best. He's got the best stats, one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL, and he's also got that great target back for him, which is Justin Jefferson. So, problem for the Vikings is the NFC North is not an easy division at all, because they got somebody right behind them that has my favorite coach and one of my favorite players, Amon-Ra St. Brown, right on their heels at 2-1 is Detroit. I still believe Detroit will take this division. They're 2-1. They're only 1 game out. I don't think the Vikings can keep this pace up. It's kind of like the Serengeti when the gazelles 2 steps in front of the lion. Well, eventually the lion catches them. So I think that's what's going to happen here. So next we look at Seattle, who's 3-1. They're a very explosive team led by Geno Smith. They're another team that's got another team in a division where there's a team that's laying in wait for them, and that is the San Francisco 49ers, who are already 2 games back of Seattle. But I'm going to tell you, they're not going to stay there, and they desperately need Christian McCaffrey back, particularly in the red zone. So McCaffrey will be back, I believe, from what I hear, McCaffrey will be back, I believe, next week. That's going to make all the difference in the world for the 49ers. So far from counting them out, I think they have a very good chance to catch Seattle the rest of this season. Very good chance. Next up is Pittsburgh. Okay, Justin Fields, another Chicago quarterback phenom that didn't turn out to be anything. This has been the story for the Bears for a century. Quarterbacks that come in with a lot of hype and don't do anything. Well, Justin Fields, they booted him to the curb. Before this season, he landed in Pittsburgh. Well, all he's done at Pittsburgh is lead them to a 3-0 record. His sack rate is like 6%, lowest in the league. He's also only one of two uh, quarterbacks to throw one or less interceptions in the NFL, and that is critical because he's not making mistakes. So here, this Justin Fields, I don't know why he didn't play like this at Chicago. Maybe it's just that Chicago curse, but he's so far looking great at Pittsburgh. And if he can keep that efficiency, he has a tendency to sometimes put the ball up in the air, but so far he's lucked out. There haven't been that any picked off. So those are my teams that are doing great right now, riding high. I see some choppy waters ahead for them, but we'll see how they do. Let's look at our Week 7 picks, and there's some great games this week. So first, I'm going to take a look at the Rams, which are receiving 2.5 points. They're at the Bears. So it's the Rams, 2.5-point underdogs at the Bears. I like the Rams. Go with the Rams here in Soldier Field. Next, we have our undefeated Seattle at our 2-1 Detroit. Detroit is a 3.5-point favorite. So I'm taking Detroit to cover that spread at 3.5. So I see Seattle's winning streak ending this week. And speaking of winning streaks, the Vikings are next on my list. So the Vikings are a 3-point underdog at the Packers. Now, you're going to have to blow off your hangover and get out of bed early Sunday because this game starts, I think, at 8 o'clock Central. It's in London. So, maybe cut back a few drinks Saturday night so you can watch this game. It's going to be a great one, I think, Sunday morning. So, again, the Vikings getting 3 points at Lambeau Field. The Packers will have Jordan Love back, but I'm questioning how effective he's going to be because I don't think he's 100% healthy. If he was, I might go make a different prediction here that I'm going to make. I'm going with the Vikings with the 3 points. I'm not saying they're going to win, but give me the Vikings and the 3. Next up is the New Orleans Saints at the Atlanta Falcons. The Falcons are a 1.5-point favorite. I like the Falcons here. And this is kind of a tough call. A lot of people are taking the Saints and taking the 1.5. Not me. Give me the Falcons to cover the 1.5. The Falcons had very close games with the Chiefs and the Steelers. This is not a bad team. So next up on the list is the Browns playing the Raiders. The Browns need to kick it into gear. I predicted before the year started that I thought the Browns would have a special year. So far, that's not happening, but they can get started, kickstart this again Sunday. Browns are getting 2 points against the Raiders. I'm taking the Browns. I'm taking the 2 points. I think the Browns will win the game and get themselves up to 500. Next, we have the next undefeated team that nobody thought would be. That's Justin Fields and the Pittsburgh Steelers. They are playing the Colts. Pittsburgh is a 1.5-point favorite in this game, just 1.5-point favorite against the Colts. I'm going with the Pittsburgh staying undefeated. So I'm taking Pittsburgh to win and certainly cover this spread of 1.5. Then last but not least, we have my other team that I think is really going to come on here the rest of the year, which is Philadephia Eagles and Saquon Barkley. They are 2-point underdogs at Tampa Bay. This is not an easy pick, by the way, but I'm going with the Eagles. Not that any of them are easy, but I'm going with the Eagles -2. So the Eagles are a 2-point favorite. I take them to win the game and to cover. So also, I want to tell you guys, there is this show that I watched on a streaming service. It's called Monsters. It's about the story of these two brothers, the Menendez brothers, who they're gruesome. They killed their parents. It's 9 episodes long, and it's a slog. To be honest with you, I slept through episodes 4 and 5, and also slept through most of episode 7. This thing goes on forever. It's got all these storylines between these two brothers that who knows. It's sensationalistic, but it's boring. I would tell you. Okay, Sports Fanatics says Monsters, the Menendez brothers. Skip it. So anyway, that's it this week, you guys. I appreciate you joining me. Please feel free to like, comment, of course, subscribe. I love that. And just, I really appreciate that you're here listening to me go on. So thank you very much. You guys have happy Sunday football viewing.